Aloha cousins, welcome into the Dorman here again, and I am very sorry about this very late roundup here. By the time this is being recorded and stuff like that, the final is out, so I'm about to record the final roundup as soon as I get done with this roundup. So again, I do apologize about the lateness, but it is better to be late than never done. So with the semifinals here, we had the Carolina Garchoms versus the Miami Dratini, and then we had the Texas Larvitar versus the Essex Espion. The first battle we're going to start talking about is the Carolina Garchoms versus the Miami Dratinis. Battle starts off pretty simple with Deerling and Tarantula. Deerling manages to land a leech seed on the Tarantula, while the Tarantula goes for first impression, dealing massive damage to the Deerling. But then Newtbox is going, okay, with the Tarantula being leech seeded, it's going to switch out. But so he goes for synthesis on the Deerling, while Miami's like, let me go ahead and stick out the sticky webs here. If Tarantula goes down, if that's good. If not, we're all good to go. Which he does manage to get the sticky webs up. Deerling goes back to full HP between the synthesis and the leech seed. Then he's like, okay, well, since he stayed out to the Deerling, Newt decided to go ahead and try to go with Headbutt for flinches, while Lionheart Miami goes out to Varoom, taking the hit very, very well and being poison typing steel type. Deerling managed to get off one last leech seed while getting hit from the Varoom, living on 1 HP, but then getting poisoned and then getting the health back from the leech seed, but then the poison is what killed it. So Varoom still managed to knock it out, even though it only lived on 1 HP. It was like, and then just done with. After that, Newt then sends out Saladin, but gets the speed lowered from the sticky webs as it comes out. He decides to go for Fake Out, try to get some chip damage on the Varoom, which then Miami switches out to Charcadet and takes the chip damage instead of the Varoom. Whenever he sees the Charcadet out in front, Newt then decides to switch out to Shinx instead of Saladin because he knows that he can't do that much with the Saladin. Whenever Shinx comes in, Charcadet uses Flamethrower on it, dealing decent to good damage to the Shinx and everything. Charcadet outspeeds because of the webs, uses Flame Charge to increase his speed even more, which then takes out the Shinx, and then which Newt tries to bring out the Rock and Rough against the Charcadet. I'm guessing at this point, Lionheart thought that he was going to use a Rock, so he probably just went with Nightshade here is what it looks like. And then, while Newt was actually like, instead of going for a Rock, I'm going to do Stone Edge. Try to make sure I can guarantee take it out. So Charcadet still is outspeeding because of the webs and the Flame Charge. Gets about 50 damage with a Nightshade, while the Rock Rough lands the Stone Edge and takes out the Charcadet no problem. Palme then comes out, and then Newt's kind of like, wait a minute, this thing has Mach Punch. Let me go ahead and switch out to my Ghost type, and maybe I can get to where I can get a set of move and stuff like that, which is exactly what happens. Palme tries to use Mach Punch on it, but with Sidesty out instead of the Rock Rough, it doesn't take any damage at all. And then with the Sidesty, he's like, okay, let me go ahead and burn this Palme so that way it can't do that much. But because it is still outsped, it takes massive damage from Crunch from the Palme, but the Sidesty does land on the Palme, which burns it, which halves his damage. Which helps with Newt, because then Newt switches out to Applin, taking very small damage because of the half attack from the Crunch and everything. Applin then comes out, locks on a rollout, while Miami Lionheart switches out to Varoom to eat the rollouts and then take out the Applin the next turn, but not before taking some damage from Astonish and stuff like that. A little bit of damage, but not before taking it out. Newt then decides to bring out Saladin and looks at Lionheart and be like, alright, I'm pretty sure he wants to keep the Varoom and everything. He's not going to want to take the Flamethrower. He's going to go into something else. I'm going to try Sludge Bomb, but forgot about the sticky webs. Because the very next turn, Varoom just takes out Saladin with the Bulldoze, and then Varoom just takes out the rest of the team because of the sticky webs, with it being outspeeding everything now, with a 6-1 favor to Miami Dratinis, aka Lionheart plays. I feel like everybody did everything where they could have been. If maybe they would have found a way for the sticky webs not to have landed, I feel like Newt would have been off a lot better, because then his Pokemon would have been faster and stuff like that. But because the sticky webs lower your speed, as soon as you come out in the field, it is very hard to do something like that. I have plenty of experience with that with Season 5. The next one we're going to talk about is the Texas Larvitar versus the Essex Espion. Now, this was a fun one because it starts off with OBS technical issues on Pidge's side where it messed up and reset everything on his side. And then when we finally got everything to working again, we accidentally chose the wrong rules where all the Pokemon levels were where they're supposed to be. So Pidge is out here having level 50s and stuff like that. And then, boom, I have my level 100s. And then took us about maybe 4 times or Glimmet just taking everything out before, like, wait a minute, this ain't right. He's outspeeding and killing things way too easy. And that's whenever we're like, oh, hey, wrong levels. So then we quit the battle, we managed to come back, and everything's all good. We still do the same leads. I lead with Glimmet, while Pidge leads with Skidoo, which still gets taken out with 1 Sludge Wave. Glimmet still outsped and everything, which is unfortunate, but then Pidge managed to bring out Drifloon, which Drifloon now outsped because everything was right, and used Calm Mind, which takes a power gem from the Glimmet, but it just barely lives. And then he's like, well, I don't want the toxic debris on the Glimmet anymore, so then Pidge uses Skill Swap on the Glimmet to get the toxic debris up, while Texas is like, well, I'm pretty sure he might outspeed or something like that. I'm just going to go ahead and hit Stealth Rocks. If I get it up, cool. If not, oh well, which I do manage to do because of the skill swap. Drifloon is now just to go on the offensive here, while Texas is like, okay, now he has the toxic debris, forgetting the moment that toxic debris is activated by physical attack, not special attack. And I'm just like, don't want to hit this quite yet, not without maybe either setting something up on my end, or I just want to get where I don't have that toxic debris anymore on that side. So he switches out to Bagon, taking massive damage from the Psychic on Drifloon because of the Calm Mind, and then Drifloon outspeeds and then takes out the Bagon no problem at all. Texas then remembers that Ghastly outspeeds the Drifloon and then also could use a special type move to not activate the toxic debris and knocks out Drifloon pretty easy, which then Pidge is like, you know what, I'm going to bring out my Zora, as it was disguised as the Tandem Mouse. Now, I know Texas, every single time they brought something out, wasn't 100% sure whether it was Zora or was not Zora. So whenever I saw the Tandem Mouse at first, I was like, you know what, I still have Glimmet over here. I can still bring up the toxic debris. So he decides to switch it out, which gives Pidge a chance to give off the Nasty Plot. Whenever that happens, Texas is like, okay, this is the Zora. I need to try to do what I can to do. But with the Nasty Plot, Pidge then immediately tears into a normal type, and then uses Shadow Ball to knock out the Glimmet. Turn 1, just knock it out. Then Texas brings out the Impotent to use Parting Shot to hopefully lower the special attack enough to 1 stage instead of the 2, to where something else can take a hit, and then goes to Clauncher, but then Clauncher still gets knocked out by the normal type Stab Terra Blast. Because with it being a Terra normal type, Terra Blast turning into staying normal type, and then gaining Stab from all of it just knocks it out real quickly. Texas goes into Ghastly, hoping to outspeed, and tears into an Electric type, maybe thinking just in case it might live 1 hit, most likely not, but go ahead and just doing it so that way it doesn't have the weakness and everything, and it manages to take out the Zora with a Sludge Bomb. Pidge then decides to bring out the Tandem Mouse because he wanted to try to use a Population Bomb, but then Ghastly gets a crit Sludge Bomb into it, knocking it out, which then Pidge is like, alright, fine, I'll just go back to what I thought beforehand. I'm going to go into Galarian Meowth and do massive damage with Fake Out because Ghastly's now electric and not Ghost, so then it could get hit from that. Ghastly then goes for Thunderbolt on the Meowth, almost taking it out, but not quite enough, and then which gives time for Meowth to use a Play Rough to knock out the Ghastly. Hop-Up then comes after that, and then basically between Hop-Up and Galarian Meowth happens between a Strength Sap, Iron Head, Strength Sap, Iron Head, Strength Sap, Iron Head. It lasts for like maybe 3 to 4 turns, and then Pidge is like, alright, we gotta break out of this. This is something's gotta be done to break out of this loop here. So he goes for Swords Dance, and then with that, Hop-Up still outspeeds the Meowth, and then it manages to use Giga Drain, which manages to take it out. After that, he brings out Mudbray, and he's like, I wish I would have put a Rock-type move, but I didn't. And then it actually takes a Giga Drain from Hop-Up really well, and then almost one-shots Hop-Up with a Heavy Slam. Understandable considering how heavy Mudbray is and how light Hop-Up is. Next turn, both Pidge and Texas are like, okay, Hop-Up's going to kill next turn. But Mudbray lived on 4 HP, which then it used to take out the Hop-Up. Impotent managed to outspeed the Mudbray next turn, use Draining Kiss, and finish off the Mudbray, giving Texas the win with a 6-5 in favor of Texas. I feel like everybody here did as well as they could have done, honestly. Maybe if Pidge wanted to do it first, to bring out the Galarian Meowth versus bringing out the Tandem Mouse, that might have done a few different things, because then instead of having to deal with just Mudbraid, had to deal with that and Tandem Mouse. So it might have done a little bit there, but I understand. But it's all good and good. I do apologize again about the lateness. I can let you know about the next fight, even though I'm about to do that roundup. But it is the Texas Tyrannotars versus the Miami Dratini. I think it's cool because both of the teams have Little Cup logos, and it's just so cool having the two teams that had Little Cup logos going into the final fight. But I'm about to record that real quick, and then I will see y'all next time.